probably think you know the story of the Buddha, right? A prince sheltered from the world who discovers suffering and leaves everything behind to find enlightenment. It's an amazing story, but what if I told you that's not really how it happened? Today, we're going to peel back the layers of that legend to find the real history, the story you don't know. So that's the big question we're tackling. Is that famous tale of the four sights, the old man, the sick man, the dead body, and the monk, is that what actually happened? Or is it a powerful myth, a story crafted centuries later to explain something much, much more complex? Look at this number, 8,000. That's how many questions were sent in for just one single lecture series on Buddhism. It's a pretty powerful reminder that this isn't some simple fairy tale. It's a huge, complex tradition with all these layers of history and meaning. So to get to the real story, we have to start at the beginning and ask, where did the story we all know even come from in the first place? Okay, so our investigation has to start with the sources. We have to figure out if these texts are giving us fact, or if maybe it's a little closer to fiction.
All right, this slide is absolutely key to understanding everything. On the one side, you've got the Tripitaka. This is the earliest stuff, based on oral traditions passed down from closer to the Buddha's actual lifetime. It's the foundation of what's called Theravada Buddhism, and it's a much more, let's say, grounded account. But then on the other side, you have the Buddha Charita. This was written way later, like 550 years after the Buddha died. It's got a heavy Mahayana influence, which means it includes a lot more supernatural events and grander stories. And here's the kicker, the real bombshell. That famous story of the four sights, the one everybody knows, it comes almost entirely from the later, more legendary book. The earliest texts, they barely even mention it.
So let's jump forward a few centuries. A brilliant Indian scholar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, took a fresh look at these ancient stories. But he came at it with a modern, rational lens, asking a simple question. Does this stuff actually make sense? And this quote right here just gets right to the heart of it. Ambedkar asked a really simple, common-sense question. How is it possible that a 29-year-old prince, a guy who lived in the real world, had somehow never seen an old person, or a sick person, or a dead body? I mean, seriously. For him, the story just didn't add up. It defied basic logic. And he didn't stop there. His questions got even deeper, and they started to point out some serious contradictions. He asked, how could a rational thinker claim the world is only suffering when we all know joy and happiness exist? And this is a big one. Philosophically, how do you believe in karma and rebirth but not in a soul that gets reborn? For Ambedkar, it felt like all these legends and supernatural bits were actually hiding the real Buddha, a radical, rational philosopher. So, okay, if the legend has some major holes in it, then what is the real story? Well, the answer isn't just about one man's life. To find it, we have to zoom out and look at the revolutionary times he was born into. Historians have a name for this incredible period, the Axial Age. And it's just this astonishing moment in history where all over the world, completely independently, brand new ways of thinking about life, ethics, and the universe just popped up. The Buddha wasn't some lone genius in a vacuum. He was a huge part of a planet-wide intellectual revolution. I mean, just look at this timeline. It's wild. Around the exact same time the Buddha is teaching in India, you've got Confucius completely redefining society over in China. In Greece, you have the first philosophers laying the groundwork for all of Western thought. And in Persia, Zarathustra is totally revolutionizing religion. There was something truly special happening all over the globe.
So, what was the spark in India? What was driving all this change? Believe it or not, it starts with iron. The introduction of iron tools completely changed farming. Suddenly you have massive crop surpluses. What does that lead to? Well, it leads to wealth, trade, and brand new cities. And with that came powerful new social classes, merchants and rulers who had money and power. But the old religious system, led by the Brahmins, didn't really give them much status. They were hungry for a new philosophy, one that valued them. And think about this. The old system involved huge animal sacrifices. Well, these new classes saw that as not only expensive, but it was destroying the very cattle they needed for their new iron plow agriculture. Buddhism comes along, rejects sacrifice, and focuses on personal ethics. It was the absolute perfect philosophy for a society that was going through this massive, dramatic change. So you see, the real story of the Buddha might not be a fairy tale about a prince who was afraid of growing old. It's the story of a brilliant, radical thinker who rose up during a time of incredible social and economic change. And that leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Maybe the most powerful thing about the Buddha isn't some supernatural story from the past, but his very real, very human response to a world in crisis, a response that, amazingly, still speaks to us thousands of years later.